And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show as we talk more high school wrestling. We're taking another step towards the CIF State Meet coming up in Bakersfield, but we got the Masters taking place in the Southern section coming up this weekend. We got Rick Covington from Arlington. And Coach, listen, my first question for you is, what was your first love? Football, wrestling, or what's behind door number 3?
It's always been football, no doubt. Ever since, I threw on my dad's pads when I was probably 3 years old. My grandmother, like most of them, kept all that stuff. And I still have his football around here somewhere. It's the Hopalong Cassidy edition. So, yeah, football's been it. But I've really grown to love wrestling the last couple of years.
Well, in Arlington, I think our good friend Jeff Gorham, the Big Jeezy, was saying that you've got a boy and a girl, right, that qualified for Masters coming up?
We do. That's the first time that's happened there, and we're really proud of those two kids, obviously, but just the whole program. I mean, kids have kind of bought in. They're working hard, and we feel like we're getting Arlington back to a place. It used to be a really respected program, and back when Ron Main and Ken Hedlund were coaching there, and we're just trying to get it built back to that level and try to be competitive with some of the great teams we got in the area. I mean, that's really the bottom line. Yeah.
Now, I was just telling you off the air that we're going to have Coach Lowe from Canyon Springs on the show tonight as well, and it's been well documented how great Canyon Springs has been. You said you were actually over there. Were you guys practicing together? What was going on?
Yeah, so they're just one of those great programs that opens their doors to smaller programs like us that maybe only have one or two kids. And you can get, you wanted to get some good level competition, and so they open up their wrestling room and really embrace everybody. And it's really, our girl got some really good work over there today, so we're excited to be over there. And of course, for me as a young, kind of new coach to wrestling, just watching how they operate is just, it's another tool in my toolkit. So.
Yeah, between Canyon Springs and obviously Temecula Valley and Paloma Valley, the Corona Girls, I mean, we've got some great programs in the IE. Is it a pretty tight bunch as well when you go to tournaments where a bunch of the local schools are there? Maybe it's the Riverside County Championships or whatnot. But, I mean, are you guys a pretty tight bunch? And obviously you guys help each other out too, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's been the real difference for me in terms of comparing football and wrestling. Football coaches are a lot of, there's some bad blood sometimes, and we're polite, but we won't like each other. But it's in wrestling, it's different. It's like we're competitive as heck for those 6 minutes. Those our kids are competing, or to dual meet for that hour. But then afterwards, you see them shaking hands, and a lot of respect for what everybody's doing, and I've been lucky in that getting into this thing, I asked a lot of questions to try to learn, and man, these guys have been so patient with me. I mean, and I'm sure I'm asking them the most inane questions you can imagine, but they've been really patient and tell me how they run practices and how they handle certain situations. So, Coach Ledesma over at Hillcrest, man, what a class program he runs, and Riverside and the IE in general, but here in Riverside, I mean, man, you got some really great programs that are run by some really good people, better people, and as good a coach as they are, they're better people in my mind. So.
Coach, I love high school football like more than anything, but I will say this: I've covered wrestling in a lot of different places across the state, and the wrestling athletes and the coaches are like some of the best people I've ever met. Like the wrestlers are always like ASB president, straight A's, volunteer at their church, like they're the perfect kid. You know what I mean? Like, and the coaches are just such great guys. Like, I just have so much respect for wrestling. Is that what you also found? It sounds like that's what you found when you got into this sport. That, man, super. I mean, how can you go from like super physical, competitive, like you said, 6 minutes on the match, I'm going to tear your head off, and then be like the best people in the world right after that the match ends?
Oh yeah, it's I comment on it all the time how unique, number one, the personalities of wrestlers are, and the coaches are the same way. I mean, there's no real typical wrestling coach. I guess when I got in, I was like, all these guys are going to be like Dan Gable, the famous wrestling
Yeah.
coach from Iowa. That could be farther from the truth. I mean, they're just a really unique set of people, and the wrestlers are the same way. I mean, you go to Poly and there's Big D, or I think is it the heavyweight, and he's got a
Yeah.
whole fan club and they got T-shirts, and I'm like, hey, I need to get one of those, because I'm a fan too. But and then we got guys on our team with nickname like Space Kitties, and these kids are, of course they're jumping on and playing, they're gaming with each other in their spare time. So yeah, it's a really fun group of people for sure.
Coach, as a football coach, do you encourage maybe some of your football guys to get into wrestling or try it out? I think of, I mean, most notably, Kenny Clark from Carter High School. He was a big time wrestler back in my Bakersfield days. Stephen Neal, who was an offensive
Yeah,
lineman for the New England Patriots. He didn't even play college football. He was a wrestler at Cal State
right.
Bakersfield. Do you try to steer maybe some of your football guys towards wrestling or vice versa maybe?
Oh, absolutely. We begged those kids to come out. I was, I've coached linemen for a long time, and I've always encouraged them, told them, hey, either wrestle or play basketball, but either one of those is going to get your feet better. But I think wrestling is just more physical, and you understand your body and space. And, I would say that, last year we had two freshman boys that came out and tried wrestling, and they wound up being significant starters or get significant playing time for us this year as sophomores. So it only gets them better,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're begging those kids all the time. We got the two Regalado boys out this year. The Arlington people know who they are, but yeah, they've improved dramatically in terms of wrestling, and I think it's going to translate to the football field, for their junior year. So we're excited anytime we get those football guys out. But and our girls program's growing too, so we're excited for them. Hopefully, you'll see some benefit. Coach Bowers over at Corona,
Yeah.
he's a powerhouse in the flag football realm now.
Yeah.
Because he's getting all those girls and knows how to recruit them, and obviously knows how to communicate with them. So yeah,
Is Coach Argamosa a wrestling guy or no?
I think he's a lucha libre. I think he's a Nacho Libre fan for sure.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
And Coach,
So,
finally, going into Masters, doing a little name dropping. Who's the boy and who's the girl wrestler going into Masters, and what's your bit of advice? What's your coaching for them to going into this big meet?
well, we got our male wrestler is a young kid. He's a senior named Gavin Akiwa, and he's a fairly new wrestler. Only been wrestling a couple years. Really has turned it on. Put in a lot of extra work. Last year broke his collarbone early in the year at one of the first tournaments, and came back and won the River Valley League at 106, and so he repeated this year. So we're excited for him. He's got a tough challenge. He's probably going to wrestle some of the top 1 and 2 ranked kids in his bracket, in their state rank. But he's a solid kid, man. I think he's gonna get it figured out. And then Jesslyn Ledesma is the girl wrestler. She wrestles at 145, and so she's gonna, she's just a tough, gritty, like works really hard, but she has a great memory. So you can show her something one time, and she gets it. So we're excited to watch her wrestle. She's been improving all year. She's been cutting down weight and getting to do a weight class she really feels comfortable at. So we're excited for those guys. But I mean, we're excited for the whole, the whole Riverside, the city of Riverside, and obviously, the broader Inland Empire. I mean, I think we're going to go over there and really, represent well at Masters, and then hopefully they're going to, the kids that make it a state, they're going to go up there and show them that Southern California and the Inland Empire has really got some talent down here.
Yeah, I think we got some wrestlers to make a deep run towards those CIF state championships. Coach Covington, always appreciate it, whether it's football, now wrestling, man, just shooting the breeze, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys, man, and we look forward to seeing you at some wrestling matches next year. Maybe we can get you out to the county tournament, we'll get you a special broadcast spot.
Let's do it. I'll call some wrestling.
Right.
It's been a while, but I'll do it.
Yeah, maybe we can hook you two guys up for the finals or something, man.
That would be fun, man. That would be a lot of fun. Coach Covington, best of luck to you and your wrestlers this weekend at the Masters. That's Rick Covington, Arlington Wrestling here on the Inland Sports Show. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.